School's in session. I'm pleased to be here at Anne Arundel County Free State School, where in 1924 this school was commissioned to educate the aristocrat society of what is now the United States of America. And with me are our expert historians who tend to take care of and give tours of this wonderful historic landmark nestled here in the little community of Lavelle, Davisonville. Thank you so much for being with me, ladies. I have with me today Carolyn and Carly. Carly, why don't you share with us a little bit of the history of the school?
As you mentioned, in 1723, then prior to the American Revolution, the government of Anne Arundel County and the state of Maryland got together and 12 schools were built throughout the state, this being one of them. It was to be built in the center of the county, which at the time included Howard County. And it took 2 years to find someone to do the building and to construct the building, and we believe it was finally opened in 1724, 1725. Taxpayer dollar was used to fund the land and the building materials and to pay the workmen, but tuition was still charged to come to school. Hence, only students who had the wherewithal to have tuition and could get here to the school were in attendance. It was usually white males. Girls still stayed at home. We went through several schoolmasters. The building was added on to after the first schoolmaster retired about 40 years after it opened. That is our back room, which is the keeping room, where literally farm tools were kept because the schoolmaster also farmed the land. Then in 1820, which you could call our heyday, when we had our most students, there were 60 some odd students at that time.
Now, I remember in the 1820s is when women were allowed to, our girls were allowed to become educated. And so this was a school that also educated our women as we move forward down the timeline. And
Yes.
So what we're standing here is part of the original building, and it was added on to over the years. But I understand now that the opportunities for educating our youth here happen quite frequently with our high schools and tours and Boy Scouts. And tell us, what kind of experience does a modern age kid have when they come down and tour this school?
Well, we bring them into this middle room, which was added in 1820. We give them a brief history, but we actually have them up and moving, putting themselves into a human timeline, so they get a sense of history. And we emphasize there was no electricity, and they right away understand. That means no computers, no Game Boys, no lighting. And we walk them through what education was like in this front room in the 1700s with no book, no paper, no pencils. That's why we have a sandbox. We explain why the fireplace was used. There's no Pledge of Allegiance. We explain about the Calvert banner. We talk about lunch at our time was really farm to table. We couldn't go to the store. We talk about recycling because lunch pails were old molasses tins. And then we bring students into the middle room for education in the 1800s, where we talk about the history of writing from quills to pens and slates. We talk about books from horn books to battledores to the McGuffey Reader.
That sounds like a fascinating time. Carolyn, you're one of the people who share the tours. And so when our little kids come up here, and given the choice of electronics or playing one of the games that you guys share, what's the response normally?
Initially, they think that this is not going to be very much fun at all. But once we get them outside sometimes and play a game with them, they change their minds rather quickly.
So how do our families here in Anne Arundel County come down and share in this experience?
The building is opened the second Saturday and the second Sunday of every month, April, May, June, July, and August. We also open for tours So, yes, schools call, Boy Scout groups, Girl Scout groups, call and arrange tours, and we do them when it's mutually convenient for the group and for us, and what the group wants to have. They can call me to arrange the special tours. My phone number is 410-268-8656, and we'll set something up.
Sounds great. Back to you.